because marriage is based on such intimacy. Why would a man marry a woman and pay a dowry and open a house, put a roof?
Hear this. Why would a man marry a woman and pay a dowry? So you hear a lot about how Islam is so feminist and the woman's money is hers and the man's money is theirs. There's a lot of talk about money and how much money she's owed and how the guy has to take care of her. But that money doesn't come pro bono. It's not free. There's a lot of strings attached. They get to hold that money over your head all the time. Like here where he says, the guy paid money. The guy paid money, he gets ass. Like that's the equation here. She's not allowed to refuse him sex unless she's physically incapable of it or unless she's sick or something. But he paid money. He opened a house. He did the part that he's supposed to do. Why could she possibly say no?
The roof and marry a woman and pay a dowry and open a house, put a roof on her head, provide for
put a roof on her head, provide for her. So all of this that is presented sometimes as privileges or perks for women, it's not. It's a transaction. It's something that they will hold over your head very often, and it's something that if they pull from underneath you, if the rug gets pulled from underneath you, you're by yourself. You're on the street. You don't know what to do. You don't have a marketable skill because you don't know how to provide for yourself. Because unfortunately, a lot of women, or dare I say girls, are put in this situation from a very young age where all they know is to be a wife, even from before they're 18 in many situations, or before they've graduated university. Even if they just graduated university, they don't know what it's like to live a life independently, whether they were in their father's house their entire life, and that's how it usually goes, whether they didn't even finish education, whether they work or don't work, they end up being in a situation where they're dependent on a man for an income and for a life. And without him, they don't know what to do. And then they're owed, the husband is owed things for that. So as he puts it, why would a guy spend all this money just to have a woman say no to him? This is the perfect arrangement for incels, to be honest. All you got to do is get the money and convince a man to get his daughter to marry you and make sure that she doesn't say no, and then you're set. You just pay the money and you're good.
And pay a dowry and open a house, put a roof on her head, provide for her food, not ask her for any financial contribution, none whatsoever. Why would he do?
Again, it's all about money, 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 money. So as long as she doesn't pay money, she has to pay another way. It reminds me of those memes about, I'm sorry, I don't have any money to pay you. I hope there's another way we can settle this, except in those situations, in those, jokes about porn scenarios, the woman is offering. In this situation, she's coerced to do it.
Would he do that? Simply so that he could enjoy staying with her and being intimate with her in a halal way. If she prevents him from having his right,
if she prevents him, again, listen to the language, if she prevents him from having his rights,
the Prophet, without any legitimate reason.
Again, the only legitimate reason to this guy is if she's in physical harm. Otherwise, there's no legitimate reason.
Prophet told us, والسلام, that the angels would curse her all night long till the break of dawn. And this is every single night.
And this may sound silly to some of us, because for one, I don't believe in angels or devils or God or any of that stuff. So I don't think if I were in that situation, I wouldn't feel distress from hearing the hadith that angels are cursing me all night long. But there are many people who do believe in that. And I don't think that their feelings or their experience should be discarded or dismissed or ridiculed just because they believe in something that we view as unlikely or nonsensical. So if a woman does actually believe that the hadith or stuff that the Prophet said, and she believes that the Prophet is the best man ever and that God told him to say things, then she believes that if she doesn't put out, the angels will curse her, and somehow that's going to influence her position, her seat in the afterlife. If she actually believes this stuff, then she will put out against her will. Again, I remind you, it may sound ridiculous to you and me, But what matters is that the end result is there are a lot of women who are put in these situations, and they are forced to just comply, because what's the alternative? Either being abused by their husband, or maybe even divorced and have no income, or the angels curse them till they go to hell. It's sad, really.
So this is a major sin, and she has to be really careful not to do that. If she's
And notice how I mean, this is terrible. And if had it been done the other way around, I would still think it's terrible. But the fact that it's missing says a lot. There is no hadith about how the guy who doesn't know how to please his wife, or doesn't want to please his wife, he will be cursed by the angels and by the Hur al-Ain and whatever. There's none of that. There's no hadith about how the guy who can't get it up for his wife is a terrible person, or the guy who doesn't want to put in the effort. None of that stuff. None of that. But for the woman, the language is always blaming her, and there's all these mechanisms to pressure her to put out. Yeah, I'm not going to read some of the live chat. It's funny, but I can't read it on the stream.
If she is not happy in the marriage, she can bail out. She can ask for khul', give him back his dowry.
Okay, let's clarify. If she's not happy in the marriage, she can't bail out in the sense that, hey, I want a divorce, I'm going to contact my lawyer, or I'm leaving. That's not how it works for a Muslim woman. For a Muslim woman, as he said, she can ask for khula.
She can bail out. She can ask for khul'.
She can ask for separation. She can request from a judge and make a case to the judge. She has to go to another man, right? Like this woman is being mistreated or coerced by a man, and she has to go to a different man and tell him, please, dear sir, sheikh, judge, I beg you to let me divorce my husband. She has to make a case, and then she has to pay him back the money that he was so, he slapped it on the table, and he's like, this is the money that's for you because I'm such a good Muslim man. And then she has to pay it all back. So don't let sheikhs fool you with the whole narrative that women have rights in Islam and money is to honor the women. No, it's a tool. It's a tool that is used to control the women.
Give him back his dowry, and she goes to her father's house without no problems, without any harm done.
Oh, again, hear this. She goes back to her father's house. He views women as property that transfers ownership from the husband to the father. Like she can't exist on her own. It can't possibly be that she moves to an apartment and continues working her job and does well for herself. No, she moves back to her father's house because she's like a child, like a house plant, like something to be nurtured and cared for, because she can't do it for herself. And in many situations, that is true. But why is that true? Because they infantilize these women up until they hand them off to the first man that marries them. And they're still children that are grown up, and they don't know what to do in life. And I don't blame them. It's difficult to have that kind of upbringing and know what to do next. So as he says, if she's unhappy, she's supposed to go beg a judge to let her be divorced. And imagine a situation, which happens a lot, by the way, where a judge says, nah, you didn't make a good enough case. Or in the meantime, as she's presenting her case, like, for example, imagine if the case is, the sex with my husband is very lousy, or he forces himself on me and I'm not happy with our sex life. That man will now be embarrassed and humiliated. And for a lot of Muslim men, honor and these sorts of, image are huge, huge things. So what will a man who has the right to discipline his wife, the God-given right to beat his wife, what do you think he'll do when his wife goes and tells a random stranger, a judge, and in front of other people, I don't want to be with this man because he doesn't please me sexually? Do you think she'll be safe in that situation? So no, it's not that she'll just, as he put it, how did this guy put it?
Be really careful not to do that. If she is not happy in the marriage, she can bail out. She can ask for khul'.
She doesn't just get to easily just bail out, go back to her daddy's house and chill at home. That's not how it works. That's not how it's supposed to work. That's not what women actually want. They don't want to be treated as children who then go back to father's house.
For khul' problems without any harm done. But to stay in the marriage and for him to provide for her and to live with her without having his rights, this is unfair and illogical. Finally,
I don't think you understand what logic means, Sheikh.
a
It's terrible. It's funny that he calls anything illogical. I mean, coming from a guy who thinks that bases his entire life on God told a man who told a man in a cave. It's yeah. Kenny says, this happened before, and the Prophet told her she couldn't divorce her husband till they have sex. Remember the hadith with the woman who turned green from beating? Yes, if you'd like to link that hadith, I'll have it in the description later. There was a hadith where a woman was beaten so hard that her skin turned green. And she went to Aisha, the Prophet's wife, the Prophet's favorite young wife, and told her about this. Told her that since that verse was revealed, that men can beat their wives, women have been mistreated so badly. And she said, there are no women mistreated worse than Muslim women. And then she told the Prophet her skin was as green as this garment that she was wearing. And the Prophet told that woman, it was all hadith that I've showed before. He asked that woman, why do you want to divorce your husband? And she said, well, he's impotent. And the guy said, no, I'm not. And he had 2 children. And Muhammad said, well, if you want to go back to your ex, you have to have sex with your husband before you can get a divorce and then go back to your ex. It was a whole convoluted mess. So no, it's not like she can easily say, hey, I don't want this marriage anymore. He could force her to have sex with her current husband. It's it's terrible. Now, I told you it gets worse, and I will fulfill my promise because it gets much, much worse.